Right guys, just wanted to show you a video about a few things about how to use this system and stuff like that, and a lot of questions that I get. So the first thing is, when you get your memory stick, make sure that you plug it into your USB 3 port. As you can see, there's a blue thing on there. Now mine is on the back, so I'm going to plug in my USB 3 here, right? So you want to plug in your USB 3 first. Then I don't have anything plugged into this computer, so it'll just boot straight off it. But you can see I've got boot option there, and to go into to press F7 to go boot option, then press the delete button to go into the BIOS. You may need to play around with it a little bit, but if you haven't got any on the computer, it will just boot off the USB. I've got my instructions to kind of help you with that stuff, but I would normally just press F7 and then click on the USB to boot it, or in the BIOS, set the USB to be the top, and then we can boot from there. So the next thing is, I've got my PS4 controller here plugged in right to there. I'm just going to mute this. So it's plugged in and it will work absolutely fine. The way to set it up is to go into the controller and Bluetooth settings and then configure a controller. Then it will say press all the buttons that you need to set it up, right? But you don't really need to set it up because I've already set it up for you. You just need to plug a controller in. It's just if you want to change the controls that I've put there myself, right? And then when you press escape, it'll save all the settings for you. The next thing to kind of get a hold of is, obviously, this is all your systems. You can see kind of like how many of your games you've got on there or whatever. So the biggest thing is you want to press F1. Right, and this takes you to this like file explorer and the Linux thing. And sometimes you may need to plug a mouse in because sometimes it doesn't pick up the drivers from the mouse pad, just so you know. And you can see here I've got a backup local. So that's my hard drive, an external drive that I've got plugged in here. So you can do that. You can plug in your own external drive. And then you've got your ROMs folder here. So if you click on there, this is all the ROMs that are on the computer. So if you want to put your own ROMs on there, then this is how you do it. You go into each folder. You can see all the different folders that are there. Now, if there isn't anything in the folder, then the console won't appear. So for instance, like there's an Xbox one here. I don't have any Xbox games in there, so it won't appear on there. Now if you want to exit on the main thing when you'll see in a minute. So if I want to exit this now, I can click File at the top left, and then I just click Close Window, right? And that brings me back to here. All right, and again, like I said, because I've got games, my own games in here, that means that I've got the actual console shows up, and I think this one can show about 49 systems. I think, I'm pretty sure. You can see that from the list on how many folders there were there. So the folders will be there in the F1 Explorer, but that's about it for it. So yeah, so if you want to put the games in there, then it'll appear, right? So the next thing is, if you go into settings, you can change a lot of these settings to your own, like if you want to put another external screen on here, so I'm using a laptop. If you want to put another screen on there, you can just change the video output and just go across. At the moment, just it stays on auto. So that's how to do that. Obviously, like I said, you can go and play around a lot with these settings. With network settings, you can do Wi-Fi, but I'd recommend just plugging a LAN cable in the back, I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, you just want to transfer your games over to each folder. Make sure it's in the right folder. You can do it as a zip or a 7R, I think, or whatever the other one is. The compressed folders, you can do that. It will pick those up. That's absolutely fine. Oh, by the way, when you do add those games in, you need to go to game settings here and then click on update games list like this. So it says really update games list, and I say yes, and then just give it a second, and it'll pick up all the new games that you've put in to the system. So just bear that in mind, because if you don't do that, then it won't pick up the new stuff that you've put in there. The system can be it is quite new in development still, so just make sure that, you know, if it does freeze or whatever, just there's no kind of loading bar. It'll just freeze for a bit if you do things like that. So just give it a little bit of time and then it'll be fine. But, you know, if you want to go into like your Game Boy Advance or whatever, then you can go scroll through, you know, choose whatever you want, you know, and then it will just play just like that. And then the next thing I need to tell you is, so it doesn't work for every single console, but the way it's set up is, so I've set it up for you, is I've used this as like the power button in a sense, the kind of hotkey button. But if I press that and the start button together, it'll come out of the game. You can also press escape on your keyboard. Now, if you press the power button and the square button, it will save state, and if you press the power button and the triangle button, it will load, right? So the power button and the start button is exit, and then the square is the save state, and the triangle is the load, right? That's pretty much the only thing you really need to know. You know, you can mess around with the other buttons. I'm pretty sure the select button does the emulator, but again, it's a little bit different for each one. Like some of them don't save state. Another thing that's cool on here is if you press triangle when you haven't gone into the game just before, you can get this kind of menu here, and you can click start autosave. You can change that in the menus as well. I typically actually make it so you automatically autosave on here, so you don't need to worry about that. You can change that off in the settings, but you can click start new game, and this is about using the save states. So the power button, you can set that in any controller. Again, you do that in the settings if you click configure a controller, and then configure a controller, and then you know, so I'm going to do that, and then you go through all of these right here, and then you know, choose which one you want. At the bottom it'll say power button, and you can define that, you know, however way you want. So yeah, if you click Alt F4, then it will kind of go back and refresh the screen if you just think, oh, I don't want to actually change the controls now. So just kind of wanted to give you guys a load of, because I've had loads of questions about this. So I just kind of wanted to show you, you know, what's going on. But yeah, plug it into the USB 3 because it'll pick it up a lot, you know, be a lot faster because it's just transferring the data a lot quicker. So just bear that in mind, you know. But yeah, just bear in mind, you know, if you haven't got any games in that folder, then it won't pick it up, and you need to update the games list. So just remember that. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.